This video will have small spoilers about the ending of Digimon Ghost Game. Digimon anime seem to always have open endings. They almost always have this concept that the story doesn't end and the more adventures will still happen. But among all of them, the most recent one, Digimon Ghost Game, has one of the more criticized endings. But what really happened? How was Digimon Ghost Game made? What is the story behind its production? But first, we need to see how all previous Digimon anime were made. Digimon is what is known in Japan as a media mix franchise. It's basically the term for a multimedia franchise. As a tradition at Toei, the anime are planned to last 1 year and be connected to various merchandises like toys, games, candies, and more. This planning needs to be flexible. If the sales aren't good, they need to find a way to quickly end the anime and start a new one. Normally they start the planning around 6 months before airing. For example, although Digimon Adventure was planned from the beginning to last an entire year, the anime staff planned it in such a way that if needed, they could end the series sooner. They had key points they planned to use, but the way they would be used would depend on sales results. In that case, there are 2 extremes of what could happen. From Digimon Adventure to Digimon Adventure 02, the planning started around the end of the Tokyo arc, and they were deciding what they would do for a sequel. The way that they decided to do this was that some key points planned for Adventure were delayed to be used in 02 with new characters and a new story, such as the 02 epilogue that was originally planned to be the ending of Adventure. The other case is going from 02 to Tamers. That is because Adventure's ending wasn't delayed to 02, but rather a possible 03. However, for various reasons, such as media mix development and staff overwork problems, they decided to end the story in 02 and to allow a new project to start in its place. So key points that were planned for 03 were instead mentioned in 02, such as the chosen children all around the world, the concept of different worlds, and the epilogue as a whole. Of course, if I were to tell you everything about Digimon anime production, I would be here the entire day. So let's just summarize everything. Digimon anime production starts around 6 months to a year before the initial broadcast, with general key points that will be used in both merchandise and story. The story is planned to be able to mix up the key points when needed due to sales results. If the sales are good enough for another year of development, the planning of the new project starts around the last half of the anime currently being broadcast. That was the case for Adventure to 02, 02 to Tamers, Tamers to Frontier, and eventually Frontier to Nothing. After the first anime, they started planning already aware of the prospect of the sales, and for that reason, the team was already aware that Frontier could be the last season, which motivated many of the choices during the production. Ultimately, no new anime was made, and instead Digimon Pendulum X was made as the start of a totally new Digimon Media Mix project, as part of Bandai's content project. Digimon Cross Wars was the only project that ended up lasting more than planned. As usual, the anime was planned to last a year, but for certain reasons, the higher-ups requested the staff to continue the series, and at the last minute, they added the last scene to the anime and started to work on more episodes. Other than that example, basically all Digimon anime had the same planning structure. But what about the new Digimon anime created for the Digimon Reboot project? What happened after 2020? The first thing that comes to mind when we talk about Digimon Reboot is the 2020 Digimon Adventure, but that is just one part of the Digimon Reboot project. The project itself started around 2018, but it started to gain momentum around 2020. The idea was to revive the Digimon franchise, integrating all the branches as a part of a single project. To develop this project, Bandai decided to call the previous producer of the Aikatsu series, Masashi Harada. His ideas come from what Bandai calls the IP axis strategy. The concept of this strategy is to create a single worldview for a franchise and develop it in a consistent way across different media using media mix. The D.W.A series was one of Harada's previous projects. He was a producer and supervisor for the series. One of the main concepts for the project was to create a franchise totally focused with media mix and connect most of the different media as part of the 2-layered structure, focusing on the real and virtual worlds. This experience shaped Harada's views of media mix, and he always attempts to bring the focus of the IP axis strategy to his new works. His standard strategy is to establish new projects from the ground up using media mix. Although each media allows the consumer to explore one perspective of the world and introduce new settings, they aren't going to be isolated to the different media. Instead, the elements need to be unified as part of a singular official setting. That was his main strategy for the Aikatsu series, and with its success, Harada became well known as someone with the ability to make media mix work. When he went to work on other projects, such as the Digimon series, he used the same ideas there, the idea that all media should be unified and not isolated. In the case of Digimon, the franchise always had media mix problems. The multiple staff never had a plan for the series, and the various different works would contradict each other, even if they shared the same branding. That was one of the reasons the adventure anime staff didn't want to continue with 03. There were many adventure-related products being made without taking into account their planned settings, which resulted in many contradictions. Instead of having to fix those contradictions, they decided they should just stop the project. The Digimon Reboot project was Rada's attempt to unify the settings of Digimon, make all the projects work on the same ideas, and enhance the ideas with media mix collaboration and project continuity. In fact, we could say that Harada's catchphrase is, IP is a treasure, continuity is power. For him, continuation is justice for the IP, but it's not about maintaining value, it is about accumulating it. Digimon Adventure 2020 was the main pillar of the project, and from it, various other merchandise would be made. Alongside other projects like the card game and the new version of the Digimon website, there was this attempt to merge in the settings of the series and create a singular experience. At last, that was a plan for 2020. So what about Ghost Game? The general idea for Digimon Ghost Game was much different when compared to the previous series. 2020's Digimon Adventure focuses on creating a large-scale conflict that spreads across many story arcs. However, the series wasn't able to bring new fans to the franchises, especially children who are the big focus of the planning. Initially, they said it was due to the pandemic, but even after a long time since the broadcast started, the series continued not being good at children's sales. Considering that video servers like YouTube and TikTok have become popular in recent years, the new series would need to focus on stories that could be finished in a single episode. The plan was to create these isolated episodes that could capture the attention of children who had never heard of Digimon before, and make them interested in Digimon thanks to the structure of a story finishing in a single episode. The series started development as usual around the spring in 2020, during the latter half of the Millennium arc, and originally they wanted to bring the series composer of the previous series, Atsuhiro Tomioka, back, but he was sick due to overwork and he wasn't capable of starting work on another series. In that situation, they decided to call Masashi Sogo, who was also working in Adventure and was Tomioka's friend, to become the series composer of Ghost Game. He isn't someone that likes or dislikes horror, but mostly interacts with it for work reasons. Although there were very limited interviews regarding Ghost Game production, Sogo shared many production details in his personal blog and revealed various secrets about the situation of his work in the series. The main focus of his blog posts is on the nature of his work as a series composer. The general idea is that since long-running anime series can't be done by a single writer, there are around 5 writers for a single anime series, and that can cause inconsistency in themes and characters. For that reason, one of them is set apart and becomes the series composer, with the job of establishing the main story of the series and overseeing the script of other writers, giving the feeling that the anime is done by a single person. In the case of Ghost Game, an episodic series, Sogo also had to pay attention to the broadcast time and plan the episodes ahead in regards to the story ideas and guest characters, to make sure they would fit with the time when the episode would air. As you might expect, that is a lot of work, and Sogo already knew of that since he was a series composer for many projects for many years already. However, he didn't expect the work for Ghost Game to be as complex as it was, or that he was already becoming too old for that work. As he's explained in the blog posts, he basically didn't have the physical strength to keep up with all the scripts writing, revision, reunions and planning. He had little time between work and sleep. With the small moments he had free, he used to go to the hospital and do health checks, and to relax, he used to do his modeling hobby. According to him, he was only able to survive because the housemate living under him took his house responsibilities. Without her help, there was no way he could have survived this experience. In that situation, Sogo wasn't able to write his own episodes. He explained the situation when a fan noticed that there were very few episodes with his name as a writer. The truth was that with his health and the other series composer duties, he had no time to work on his own episodes, which were the ones focusing on the vertical overarching plot. Ever since the start of the series, Sogo was already talking about just finishing the work. The first time was during his 2021 New Year's Eve post, when he stated his work would continue until next year. The second time was right before the broadcast of the episode 47. In a new post, Sogo mentioned that he was already working in the ending of the series, but making the climax of a series was a very important subject, and he was having nightmares about fan backlash of what he would do with the ending. When Ghost Game ended, he announced he would be retiring from series composition as a whole, and for now, he would just be an episode writer. That information really explains a lot about why Ghost Game had so few plot-heavy episodes, even considering its episodic nature. But yet, there is one other detail that explains some of the choices behind the Ghost Game structure. One of the most important parts of anime planning is making episodes that advertise the most recent product. It makes sense that the super important debut of a character happens around the time that the toy featuring that character is released. Since the start, the Digimon anime has been made with the idea that somehow the element showcased there can be turned into a toy or other types of merchandise. If there is some change in the merchandising planning, it is expected for the anime to somehow integrate changes if possible. For example, originally, the toy budget for Digimon Adventure only allowed 10 to go up to the perfect level, but after some time with the success of the series, Bandai has averaged budget to make more two evolving toys featuring the ultimate level Digimon, War Greymon and Metal Garurumon. And for that reason, the two had to be included in the anime, even though they weren't planned to appear at first. Many fans notice that the character development stops around the perfect level, and that's why the ultimate level wasn't planned to appear in the series. However, there are also times when Bandai allows the anime to continue with the planning, which would first intend to advertise everything they make. In Digimon Adventure 02, the only armored Digimon planets were the ones featured in the anime. It was after the planning that the Digi3 toy developers decided to explore the possibilities of every Digimon using any Digimental, resulting in the creation of many other armor-level Digimon that weren't planned to appear. And in regards to those Digimon, the anime staff didn't need to use them, but they did end up making a drama CD using some of the possibilities. With Digimon Ghost Game, the situation was a bit surprising. This time, there was no request from Bandai to feature the Digimon they created in the anime. According to Harada, he decided to give the anime staff total freedom in regards to what they wanted to do, and for that reason, not even he would know which evolutions they would want to feature. Not even all the evolutions featured in the Vital Bracelet needed to appear. New Digimon were featured in Ghost Game, but when they appeared, it came down basically to the anime staff who wanted to do something with them, not because Bandai requested. In fact, they learned about the Vital Bracelet DB around the spring of 2022 and decided to incorporate it as part of a small mini-arc, but it wasn't something planned at first. Eventually, when more Gamamon's evolutions were revealed for the Vital Bracelet DB and the card game, there was even official confirmation that those evolutions wouldn't be featured in the anime. In the end, not even Arcturusmon or Proximamon were featured in the anime, which caused much confusion for the fans. After the end of Ghost Game, the character designer of the series Takeru Shinozuka opened a Twitter space to talk about the development of the series with other staff members, and there he also answered fun questions about the series, including one that asked about Gamamon's evolutions that weren't featured in the anime. Shinozuka explained that due to the simultaneous development of both the anime and the toy, not everything that is developed by the toy gets added in time for the anime, and for that reason, certain evolutions could be added to the animation. Trying to give hope to the fans, Shinozuka said that there is always the possibility that in the future they might continue this story, and if that's made, they might be able to feature the evolutions that they couldn't add before. Digimon Ghost Game is an interesting series. It both follows the standards set by other series, but also breaks many rules. There are many interesting stories like those dating back to the very first Digimon anime and other projects around that time. I might start a series based on this, going in-depth into the development and showcase the reason why certain choices were made. About Ghost Game, without more information, we might never learn about all the background behind its development. But with the few pieces of information that I was able to gather, I hope that this put to light many of the histories that influenced how this anime was made.